Again, I'm Jeff Farris, President and CEO of CloudRadial. Matt Fox is joining us today. He's the product manager with TopLeft.
Okay.
We're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to spend a lot of time on TopLeft and integration, but I also know we have a lot of people on board today that are not familiar with CloudRadial. So I want to go through just a couple of minutes about that. Before we get into TopLeft. For those of you already familiar with CloudRadial and using it, bear with me for a few minutes and we'll get through this quickly. But again, for those that aren't familiar, hopefully this will be enjoyable. So as we get into, there we go. There we go. I've mastered the art of changing slides. So first test is successful here. So CloudRadial, for those of you who are not familiar with CloudRadial, CloudRadial is what we term a CSA, a Client Services Automation Platform. And our job is to work tightly with your PSA like ConnectWise, AutoTask, BMS, Synchro, Halo, to basically bring a variety of different pieces together for the benefit of your clients and for the benefits of your account management, service team, and others inside your organization. So we basically bring all of the client touch points together in a single pane of glass for all of your clients. We pull together, again, the things that you're probably familiar with, either because they're built into your PSA, such as ticketing portal or service catalog, but we extend that concept much deeper and richer to basically bring in a variety of other sources of data. If you think about it as an MSP, you're sitting on megabytes, maybe terabytes, for some of you, maybe petabytes of information, and very little of that makes its way to your clients. And so it's usually a print and present methodology to try to get information to them or to get them engaged and collaborative with the things that you're doing. And so with CloudRadial, we're going to bring all those touch points in a single pane of glass. So transparency, we can use things as transparency, automation to drive the discussion engagement forward. Real quickly, just to go through a little bit about on the CloudRadial side, we're going to basically you're seeing what your clients would see inside of CloudRadial. So you're going to be able to, your clients are going to be able to interact with you in a variety of different ways, whether that's onboarding new users, being able to do service requests, customize forms, again, to get information into your PSA, also being able to get information out of your PSA, such as support tickets. Again, we're going to take the concepts that you're familiar with inside your typical ticketing portals and take those in really new directions, more powerful, more ways to automate and link to your other services. But again, the ticketing concept is one that is just one part of the equation and one part of the engagement that you have with clients. So we're going to bring in training. You can create your own courses. You can pull in courses from Bigger Brains, now from Clip Training and others, to provide kind of, again, a single pane of glass for users so they're not bouncing between various different portals. For the people that pay the bills, for the people that that you need to do basically reporting for, we're going to pull that reporting into the portal so you don't have to do QBRs the way you've done them before. We'll have other webinars on this topic, but the main thing is that, again, you're not focused on delivering a printed report to them. You're basically letting them see in real time what's going on with their assets, with the things you do for them protection-wise. So you're getting information from users in a structured way. You're providing information to your clients in a structured way. And when everybody's on the same page, this really improves engagement and collaboration. And then we'll get to a point where basically you're working with your clients in a planner fashion. So that, again, as you work with your clients, as you engage with them, as you make transparency a part of it, the goal with CloudRadial is to make all of that exchange of information easy, automated, so that, again, you can spend your time as an MSP focusing on the things that you would like to do that move the needle for both of you and your clients, which is things that help make them money, save them money, and reduce risk in a way that they can understand. And so as a part of all of this, one of the key things that's been on our list for a while has been related to the presentation of projects and and project management, as we found, is a wide-ranging subject, and Autotask and ConnectWise in particular have, basically checked the box for project management, as have Kaseya and some others, but none of them have really implemented the tools to help you take that project data and move that out into other areas. And that's why we found a tremendous number of partners who aren't using the built-in PSA tools just because they fall so woefully short. And so we find a lot of people using Monday and other third-party project tools. Of course, when you do that, you lose the ability to do the time tracking and some of the detail things that you'd like to get or like to keep inside the PSA. So as we look to address this, again, being a client services automation platform has been, I think, transformative for a lot of our partners. It's been very transformative. I think it's potentially transformative for the industry, but it also is a very broad feature set. And I have yet to have a conversation with a partner that doesn't end up being a request for new features. And if you look at our feature board, I think we've got well over 1,000 different suggestions, and we routinely check the boxes and get those done. And we're also working on things that aren't even on that feature list that we think would be transformative as well. But the list of things that need to be done in CloudRadial is large and is growing. And so we've always been focused on integrations, and we've always focused on teaming up with pulling data from people that understand that data better than we do. We've done it with training, with bigger brains and clip training, people that really can spend the time and energy understanding and evolving in the training course world, how to get information to users, make it engaging and useful. We've done it with other tools like Augment, Breach Secure Now, and others, where we're basically using their expertise to again, drive specific behaviors or to monitor specific behaviors in users, bring that data into CloudRadial so it can be actionable. And so when it came time to do projects, one of the things that we were intrigued by was TopLeft and what they've done inside with their product to really address the shortcomings of the PSA approaches to project management, and to make those tools that are already internal, which you already have, maybe more robust and useful from a management standpoint, and now with the integration, maybe more transparent to the users. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt and let him talk a little bit more about, or actually a lot more, about TopLeft. So welcome, Matt.
Hi, Jeff. Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. We were excited to work with CloudRadial to be able to help project managers improve their client communications, because it's actually, we had been kind of tackling the same problem ourselves, and then it was just great timing to be able to work with Jeff and CloudRadial to help CloudRadial customers specifically with that problem too. So some of the problems that well, actually, let me introduce myself a little more. Yeah, I'm Matt, and I go by product manager here at TopLeft. That means that I concern myself with making sure that what we were offering to MSPs is really, solving a real problem and doing it well. And so one of the things that we tackled recently was specifically the client communications part of project management, because we've actually been helping MSPs, ConnectWise and Autotask specifically, those MSPs, for a number of years already with project management from the project manager's own perspective, really. And I will show some of the things that we help with that. But one of the things that we now help with is the communications aspect. So, we had heard from MSPs that the project managers were spending a lot of time answering questions from their clients. Hey, I've got this project with you, and I'm wondering about these couple tickets. Are they done already? If not, when are they going to be done? Or they're in progress. So when will they be done? Oh, they're waiting on me. Okay, that's something that can happen too. You're doing these projects with customers, and certain things they need to do. And so that's a critical part of the project management, is making sure they understand that this is part of their, these are things that are now ready for them to do. Find out when they finish that so that you can unblock your own workers and keep those projects moving forward. That can take a lot of time, and it's the sort of thing that's really easy to overlook as well, especially when you just have a thousand things happening, and also the visibility that the PSAs have offered into that sort of thing is really weak. And then other problems that we've heard from project managers are just that, well, Jeff, exactly like you said, the project features in there are very basic, which is why some use other tools like Monday or whatever, with all the disadvantages of losing the link in the data there. But some, I mean, obviously many have decided, okay, it's more important to use the poor tools because of the power of just having all the data in one place, all in ConnectWise or Autotask. But then you have big problems with just the poor tools, and all, if you're looking at your project portfolio, all you have is just a list of projects. It's very difficult to prioritize in there, or to notice certain problems, to identify the problem projects. And you get sort of the same thing if you're looking at it at the ticket level too. You just got a work breakdown structure pretty much, and you're really responsible for looking at that very closely to find, okay, which tickets are in which status, which of my people are assigned to those, which tickets are overdue, or which tickets have been stalled and maybe forgotten about, and things like that. So it's really up to you as a project manager to look in there very carefully. And so we are actually out of an MSP in the Vancouver, Canada area, with all those problems. And so that's why we built TopLeft originally, to solve some of those problems. So let me show you how we have solved those, specifically in CloudRadial. So this is the new screen that CloudRadial has added. This is available to your clients and their account. If they see the account menu, then they can see projects here now. So that's the new bit that is available in CloudRadial. And when they click that, they will see a list of their projects from the PSA, and they are going to wonder about a specific project. They just click on the name, and all that happens is we bring up a view that has a TopLeft embedded in it. So this is a TopLeft Kanban board. It's actually really straightforward. For those of you who have ever seen Trello or Monday, Asana, that sort of, Jira is another one, or Microsoft Planner. If you've used any one of those, then you'll recognize the Kanban format. The columns here, this is just showing the same data that's in your PSA, right? If you're using the project management module in your PSA, you already have this data here, the projects and the phases and the tickets too. So we're just showing it in a different way. The columns in a Kanban board represent the key stages of the work. So if you consider your ticket life cycle, it starts out in new. Then it at some point is ready for an engineer to start. Engineer will take it on. It's in progress. Eventually, it makes its way over to the right, and it's completed, with some other stages in the middle. It's all very flexible, configured however you need it. All the data is synced two ways. So if a change happens in your PSA, then that's reflected here too. In certain modes of the app, you can make changes to the data here, and then that gets sent straight back to your PSA. The columns are associated with the ticket statuses that you already have. So you can actually, in certain modes, drag a ticket from one column to the next, and that will actually change that ticket status back in your PSA, ConnectWise or Autotask. It's just a lot easier to see, or a lot easier to understand this data, just in the way that it's presented in this card format, rather than being a big table or a report that you need to look at really carefully. It does things like highlight certain problems for you, where, for example, like this one with the red tag here is highlighting it because that ticket has been in, it's been in that column for a week. We don't like to see tickets that just sit around in the in progress column for too long, so it's taking that in red for us. So it helped, and that's not even, that's just an example of one of the problems that it helps you identify. There's a variety of other things that it can help you find too. And in this example, we're showing the ticket by we're showing this project by the phases. So the work that you've done to put the tickets into the phases is still used within this view. So from the client's perspective, when they're in here in CloudRadial wondering about the various other things that you as an MSP are providing to them, now when they're wondering about their projects, they can find that all here too, and very easily answer questions for themselves like, hey, what work has been completed now? What work is in progress? Or is there any work that's maybe is getting delayed? They can see that, although there are ways that you can limit how that's displayed so that you have control over the communications about that product, that project. And you can also present the work that's waiting on them. Like, for example, in a waiting column here, you could tell your client at the beginning, hey, anything that's in that waiting column, that's going to indicate something that we're waiting on you for. So keep an eye on that. And that can really streamline that communication. And that is really one of the better ways to best ways to keep projects moving forward, is just to streamline that communication so that as soon as there's a problem, you're dealing with it, rather than waiting a week before you even identify that it's a problem, and then you got to go and even start fixing it. So identifying that stuff is one of the easiest ways to improve the velocity that you can do those projects at. So this is how your client would experience it. There's from the perspective of the project manager who does want a better tool to be able to manage some of these projects. That's all available, not in the CloudRadial client portal, but actually in the web app that we offer. This is an example that a project manager might use. This one is showing the whole project portfolio. So your projects have a life cycle as well, and so we can present that here on a Kanban board, showing which projects are in progress, which ones are new or waiting to start, and so on. Including identifying certain problems about the project level at a whole. The ones that are over budget or about to start, or maybe they should have started already but they haven't. Things like that. Another example here is a view that is now we're showing the project tickets. Again, this one has a way to split these, basically show project by project all of the different tickets that are within those projects. Like this one, it has a section here that's just showing the tickets for one project, an Azure migration project. And you scroll down a bit, you can see another project for a different company, the CRM upgrade project, and it's showing you some fairly detailed information with the actual tickets that are within that. And it's powerful because it's all on one page, and that's a view that neither ConnectWise nor Autotask can give a view like that, where it's showing the actual tickets of multiple projects at once. If you need to do that sort of management, you're doing a lot of clicking or opening a lot of tabs to do that sort of thing. And another view that you can see is when the tickets are grouped by who's assigned to them. Like that's another big problem that a project manager has to be able to tackle, is like, once we know for a project, to accomplish the project, we need to do this certain amount of work. So I have these tickets. Now, who's actually going to be doing those tickets? That's always something that a project manager is concerned with. And so this view shows us tickets by who they're assigned to for each member of your team. And that's also a difficult view to get out of ConnectWise or Autotask. So we have a lane that actually shows us the unassigned tickets, followed by a lane that shows us the tickets according to who they're assigned to. In a view like this, you can actually drag them between the swim lanes to reassign them. So it makes that job very easy. If you, for example, if you see, maybe your senior engineer has twice as many tickets as anybody else, and so the senior engineer is the bottleneck in your team. Too much work has to go through him or her, and so you want to address that. Maybe you notice that there is some work in that engineer's queue that can be done by a more junior engineer, and so that's a great way to start speeding up that work. So yeah, for sure, just drag that ticket from one swim lane to the next, and that gets reassigned. So it can make things very easy in that way, and give you new ways to look at that data. And there are ways actually that this can actually help the engineers. So it's not just for the clients or the project managers, but we do have a way too that will help the engineers work when they can. Engineers have a lot of the same problems too, just with the visibility of the work and tickets getting not being able to prioritize what they think they should be doing, or what they're being told to do by the project manager or service dispatcher as well. And or see the problem tickets, certain tickets that they've been assigned to for a while. Maybe they have just gotten lost in the in progress column and they've been sitting there for a week. Well, engineers can actually use TopLeft themselves and accelerate their day by even entering time in TopLeft, and then also being able to identify some of those problem tickets so that they can actually handle those themselves and get those back on their own. So yeah, that's just a very quick summary of some of the ways that TopLeft has helped project managers and engineers, and now we also help clients.
So Matt, we're getting some good questions in. And one of the things, talk about the interactivity kind of here and in the future for this form right here. And then also you might want to talk about your specific client portal that previously has been freestanding, but you're moving that functionality into CloudRadial. So if you can talk about some of that part, and then there's actually some more questions on that. But I think it'd just be good to talk about, again, can they update a ticket? Can a client update a ticket? Can a technician update a ticket inside these projects?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that is one of the things that can really accelerate someone's day, is just, in the same view where they are viewing the data, they can also make changes to it as well. So some of those things about editing the ticket, specifically, what we can let the clients do is, this is all optional. You don't have to permit this, but if you want to let them do that, you can. That is adding notes to the ticket. So there's a function for that. So you can permit your customers to actually view the notes that exist on a ticket already, and to add their own notes to those tickets as well. Also, there's an option to drag the tickets from one column to the next. So that could be used, for example, to especially for that work that's waiting on the customer. Well, if they see that in a column that indicates, okay, it's waiting on them, you can actually permit them to drag that to the next column to say, okay, now it's back in the MSP's court because they have done their part on that work. So at the moment, that functionality is limited to just the TopLeft portal, on the TopLeft app. It is not yet available in the CloudRadial. In the CloudRadial interface, and the only reason for that is, Jeff, as you know, we launched this fairly recently, and so we just wanted to get people using it as the minimum thing that would work, and then wait for the feedback. And it's good to hear that people are finding that interesting and wanting that functionality in there. So that'll be something that we will be adding into the CloudRadial part of the integration. There is the ability to actually update that information from the CloudRadial app.
So would a client be able to update their project ticket in the CloudRadial portal?
Yeah, that's what's missing today, but that's what we'll be adding.
Okay. I'm answering here. So, and from it does work with Autotask and with ConnectWise both, correct?
That's correct.
Are there plans to bring other PSs on board in the near term, or is that to be decided down the road?
Yeah, it's still kind of to be decided. We always take that feedback, and get in touch. Actually, just if you'd like to tell us what PSA you're using and you'd like to see this functionality, we definitely want to hear from that. You actually just put that in the chat, or you can email me, matt@topleft.team. We'd love to hear which PSAs you're using. At the moment, that is for us a medium-term decision to see what to pursue there.
Okay, and then with Autotask projects, do you guys support the task associated with those projects? Because I'm not as familiar with the Autotask projects, but I guess they use the task metaphor rather than the ticket metaphor.
That's right. Yeah, on Autotask side, they specifically call them tasks, not tickets. And yeah, that's exactly what we do. On the Autotask side, we have the projects and then the tickets for sure. Yeah. Sorry. For Autotask, they're called tasks, and we do support that. What I'm showing here is the ConnectWise side, but what you would see here, if it was Autotask, is exactly this sort of thing, and these would be the tasks.
Okay, and then on the phases inside of CloudRadial, inside your customer portal, can you control what phases are shown to a customer? Do you have the ability to kind of dial in and dial out either certain ticket statuses or statuses and phases?
Yeah, it's really configurable. Now, one thing that can't be done is to specify certain specific phases that are visible or not visible. So all the phases that you use are going to be visible. If you have some entire tickets that you want to be private, that can be accomplished in, I guess, two ways. One could be to have a separate project where you keep all the stuff that needs to be private. What would be maybe a little bit easier yet is to have a series of statuses that that are only used for those private tickets, because how it works is part of the job that you do as you set up a Kanban board is to map ticket statuses to these columns. So if there's any, and it's acceptable to not map every single status to a column, right? You're not required to map every status to a column, and that means that you can do that intentionally. Don't map a certain status to any column, and then any ticket that's in that status won't appear on the board.
Got it. And then this question, is there visibility into hardware changes that are tracked in the project?
This right now, it's focusing on time. So we don't do expenses and hardware charges like that right now. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that we would collect feedback about.
Okay.
But at the moment, it's not supported.
And then okay, so can you show the client portal that runs outside of CloudRadial, what you provide now to clients, or for partners to show their clients, I guess is a better way to phrase it.
Sorry, can I show it now?
Yeah, can you show a client portal, a sample client portal, maybe?
Yeah, I think I can. So it really does look almost exactly the same.
But you've got interactability or interaction ability with their client portal, with your current client portal outside of CloudRadial, correct?
That's correct. Let's see if I can impersonate someone. Okay, so yeah, so I'm impersonating here the same user that I was using in CloudRadial, and so here is a view. Let's see what other boards they could see. Yeah, so here's an example of how it would look in the built-in client portal. So this board is not exactly the same as the one that is shown here. The kind of the model here in CloudRadial is that your client will look at this list of projects and decide which one they want to see on a Kanban board, and then select one. And that is certainly that sort of mode is supported here too. But some additional modes are supported here in the built-in portal, where as in this example, this user is seeing multiple projects at once. So as I had described, like sometimes that's a really useful view for a project manager. They want to see the tickets within multiple projects at once. And that can be a useful view for a client as well, who just kind of wants a quick view to see what's going on in more than one project. So these are all, like, this project is the downtown office move project. So in the view like this, we're seeing all the tickets that are part of that project, but here they're split up by the phase. And in this particular example here, now we're seeing all of the tickets for that project. They're all together in one lane here. And then we're able to see the tickets of a second project. And if they had 4 projects going all at once, then they'd see that those other 2 projects as well.
Can they add a note from here currently?
Yeah, if this option is available. Yeah, so here's an example. Let's see if there's an example with a real note. Yeah, so here's one. They could see time entries here, and then they could add their own note.
Got it.
So this is an example of how they would add a note to that, and then that gets sent out to the people who are assigned as resources on that ticket.
So this is the types of things you'd like to bring into CloudRadial, is that ability back into what they're seeing, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And then just FYI, so we're integrating with TopLeft, but we don't resell TopLeft. So if any of you are interested in TopLeft or licensing, you'll need to reach out to Matt after this webinar to get the pricing details. And
yeah, absolutely. What I suggest is just go to the website, topleft.team is the address, and click the big get a demo button there at the top. That way we can just have 15 minutes to talk together and answer any questions and to describe how the free trial period and how we help you get started there, and show you any other things that you might want to see before you get started.
And then one of the things is again, this is as Matt's mentioned, this is version 1 of the integration. There's a couple of questions related to CloudRadial's ability to show a project list. And so that's, again, we're sort of doing that already today. And then those projects are the ones that can be dialed into from TopLeft. Again, as we get, more feature requests, more feedback, we should be able to dial in specifically which projects are shown for clients so that before they even click on a project, you know that you've got it dialed in for that particular user to be able to see. The projects window is also configurable under CloudRadial security roles capability. So you can turn off projects for particular users or enable them for particular users. So again, when you impersonate, you'll see them, but you may not always see them. Your users may not be able to see them based if you've turned that off or not. And so again, I think that addresses a permission issue question. Does TopLeft work with standard service tickets?
Yeah, it does. At the moment it doesn't work for that in CloudRadial, but TopLeft it certainly does. That's another big problem that many MSPs have is their service tickets get lost, or their dispatcher doesn't know what's going on, just from the reports that ConnectWise or Autotask gives you. Or another one we hear is our dispatcher, they work out of the dispatch portal, so they're always putting tickets into certain engineers' calendars. But that's a lot of work. I once heard a dispatcher who took it took 2 hours a day for her to just manage time for 2 engineers, right? So that was a big investment. So they're wondering, is there an easier way to do some of this sort of stuff, to kind of step back from the nasty cycle of you put a ticket into a calendar, but inevitably something doesn't quite go according to plan. The ticket doesn't get worked on during that time, or it took a lot longer than the time that was allocated, and it just messes up the rest of the calendar, and everything needs to be rescheduled. Right, that's kind of a nasty loop that some MSPs find themselves in, and they wonder if there's a better way to do that. And we can certainly help with that sort of thing too. So yeah, we do service tickets for sure, and even in the ConnectWise side, they can actually be shown together with the project tickets, because I know a lot of MSPs don't have dedicated service teams or dedicated project teams. They just have they have their team of technicians, and they work on both. And so for that, it's really valuable to be able to see both service and project in one screen. And at least on the ConnectWise side, you can. That is something we are going to be adding to the Autotask side.
Now, you'd also mentioned that there was some scheduling going back and forth. Can you update schedule entries from within TopLeft, or is that done through the PSA?
Yeah, certainly that's a place where we plan to make some improvements. You can't actually edit one now, but there is a way, both for ConnectWise and Autotask, to create new schedule entries. So you can assign somebody and put into their calendar in ConnectWise, and in Autotask that's called service calls. And yeah, you can create a new service call from TopLeft, both for service tickets and project tasks as well.
And is there a way for clients that maybe are going to be away from their portal, or they don't want to show this to clients? Is there a way to print a report and provide to clients of their project statuses using that Kanban layout?
I suppose we have heard of people, printing out the Kanban boards. It's not a dedicated thing that we've gone out of our way to implement, but it appears in the browser. So I think some people have printed out what the browser shows and brought that to their clients.
Okay. And then one of the things that's come up too, and maybe not in these questions, but again, there's plenty of questions here. I'm not sure we're going to get to all of them in the course of this webinar. But one of the things that's interesting now that we have a project linkage inside of CloudRadial is being able to link potentially planner items back to projects. And so again, this is on a roadmap as well, so that again, if you think about the flow of information, inside that planner view of CloudRadial, being able to link back to projects and being able to, from that project, being able to open up, this Kanban board to see the summary of it, right? So again, planner items that are in progress should be able to tie back to things like this. And so again, there's just never I've never ever talked to a partner without a feature request. And as we get in here, this list is going to grow. And I think this is one of the things that we struggled with as an organization. Again, when we get this, we get multiple feature requests a day, is getting this stuff done. And again, I like what TopLeft is doing and the fact they're focusing on it. We just need to glue things better on our end, kind of what we started here, but I know we can still do a better job of gluing things here on our end back to that tool and reporting. Matt, can you talk about pricing a little bit and how you license and kind of what it would cost for a partner to trial it, what it costs to start off with like 1 or 2 clients in TopLeft, kind of ballpark what those price points look like?
Yeah, I sure can do that. And for anybody who's wondering for the details, pricing is on the website here. You can click your PSA and get the pricing. It's split up into 3 tiers, or I suppose 4 actually, since we're talking about client portal. So we have a basic, standard, and a premium tier, and at different price points for different uses. And then I guess you could say the 4th tier is the client portal license. So let me give kind of the 2 common cases that we see. So one case would be for for someone who just wants to, as a single project manager, and they're frustrated with what's available in their PSA. They just say, I need a better tool for myself. Okay, so they are going to get a premium license. That's kind of the main case for that. That starts at, it's $75 a month for a premium license. And that will let them do everything that I showed you today in terms of the tools for the project manager. They can have the boards that show the overviews. They can set up the columns however they want, dragging, dropping for themselves, entering notes and changing the data for themselves. That's what you would get with the 1 premium license for a project manager. And then you would get a certain number of client portal licenses. Those are $30 a month. And a client portal license allows you to invite, each license gets you 1 company. So one of your clients can come in and see the client portal, whether that's in the built-in client portal or the CloudRadial part of it. 1 license is for 1 company. Now, within any company, you can invite any number of people. There's no limit. So whether that's a company where you're mostly working with 1 person who's concerned about the project, or you're working with a whole team, there's 6 or 7 people who want to see updates on these projects. Doesn't matter. You can invite everybody with 1 license for 1 company there. So that would be the example for an MSP where your main concern right now is just, I'm a project manager and I need better tools. The other main case is for the whole where an MSP says, you know what, in addition to project management, I really want my engineers in here using it because my engineers also suffer from problems with bad visibility and kind of wondering what's going on and missing things and not entering time and so on. So that's the other common case. In that case, most likely you would want to get a standard license for the whole team that's going to use it. And actually, in that case, there's a lot. Most likely, your project manager could also use a standard license in that case. I won't go into all the details why, but that would be a common case that, in fact, everybody on your team could just have a standard license in that case too. You might not even need any premium licenses. And then all of your engineers can get in there. They can get the benefits of the visibility into the work. Project manager has all the tools that they need to manage that. And it could be that you also might have some people who aren't going to work from TopLeft regularly. Maybe they check it once a day, maybe even once a week, just to kind of help them gauge what's going on, see if there's any problems that they need to know about. But they're not going to be, like entering time in TopLeft. Those are people who could get the basic license, and that's very inexpensive, just $10 a month for one of those licenses. Now, for that team, where the whole team is working from TopLeft, again, they would also get the client portal licenses for whatever number of companies that they think need to be able to have that self-serve access within the portals there, which by no means, like, it does not need to be all of your companies at all. It's really, really flexible, actually. So you don't actually license the like, a license is not tied to a particular company. What I mean is, you can say, normally we run about, in our MSP, we run 6 big projects at once. Okay, so I'm going to get 6 licenses for 6 companies, and when you finish one big project with one company, you unlicense that company, and then you're just going to start another project for another company, and then you grant that license to the new company. So it's very flexible in that regard.
Got it. So basically one premium license, again, for every piece of functionality, and then one client portal license and that's what, $105 a month. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, $105 a month.
Okay, so for one client to get started is that, and then how long is your trial period for getting started?
Yeah, we offer a free trial for 2 weeks. That's usually lots of time to get started and set up some good boards, and understand how it's going to help you at your MSP. At the beginning of that trial, we actually have we call it the concierge onboarding call. We want to help you through setting up those boards. So, we've got our best practices, and we don't want you to have to worry about setting up another tool, right? Everybody has too many tools. So instead of, you having to figure it out all on your own, you just join us for a call. We'll get everything set up for you. We'll teach you how to do it so that you can go on your way and set up other boards. And then there is a $2.99 setup fee for that. We say it's the fee for that call, but we don't actually charge it until after the trial, when you go forward with a paid subscription. So for those who maybe do the trial and then decide it's not for them, it actually there's not going to be any charge for that.
Got it. And then so is there in the customization capability, again, you talked about being able to control which statuses appear for which phases. And then the other question is what other customization do you have where you can dial in or exclude certain things from that project listing, or is it really just controlling the tickets by status?
No, there's quite a bit of customization. So like, as an example, all of the fields, or at least almost all the fields that are shown on the card here, that can be turned on or off. And there's actually even more that is possible to show here that's turned off right now in this example. So you can turn these all off so you don't show that sort of thing. And also in the client portal mode, you can turn off some of these options, like specifically around the time. Like this warning here, it's in red because this project is over budget, or rather this phase part of it is over budget. And and there are options to be able to disable that sort of thing too. And so that's actually how people are setting this up, is they set up a bunch of Kanban boards with a variety of ways to look at the data for their team. And then they'll set up specific Kanban boards, which they make available to the client portal. And they set that up in a custom way for just what they want their clients to be able to see.
Got it. And then is there a way, like the top left logo in the top left of the page there, can they customize that with their own logo?
They sure can. Yeah. There's a few ways to customize it. There's a that image, the color, for the built-in portal, there's an image on the login page. You can change that. So there are a variety of ways to change that.
Is there a way to turn off the time entries and just kind of show the tickets and the statuses?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that would be an example like this one here. I mean, the options are turned on here. I can see that because they're showing on this ticket. So this ticket is not showing those because it doesn't have any of that data, but you absolutely can set it up so that they will be just a simple display like this, even if there are time entries on it.
Okay, so you can dumb this down to just the very
Absolutely.
basic information, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then in your premium license as a user, you've got complete views of, I mean, as an MSP, you can see everything, correct?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And, and that's not even the sort of thing that depends on the, the premium, standard, or basic tier. You can even turn on those options even for somebody who's on a basic tier, because those are the options that apply to your staff who, of course, you're going to show more information to the staff.
Are there other views besides the Kanban view that relate to high-level summary chart, percent complete, different phases, calendar views, any of that stuff? I think you mentioned something that was coming up. I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but
Sure. Yeah. Now there's things like percent complete. That's a field, and you can show that on the Kanban boards if you want. Other more more significant views, other ways to look at this data, specifically Gantt charts and calendars. Those are things that we don't do today, but we definitely want to. Like, we receive requests for those fairly regularly. And so those are coming up on our roadmap. We want to add those, like, even within months. So yeah, you can keep an eye out for those sorts of things. And definitely, I think at least some of those things we would add to the client portal, the portal views for the clients too.
okay. And I think we've talked, there's quite a few, there's a lot of interest in price. One of the things that, again, just to kind of highlight the time productivity, we'd worked with an MSP years ago, and they had a person that was basically dedicated to, once a week, updating all the clients on all the statuses. And, it's a laborious process. Basically sometimes telling them the same information they just told them the week before, sometimes not all that interesting, but
Yeah.
But it was important to keep the clients up to date with all of their project information. And what really strikes me here is that what you guys are doing is you've just eliminated that position / effort each week, because a client can easily click something and see the status of all the tickets that are ongoing. And I just, again, I think about, again, there'll always be people that look at the $30 per client as too much or too high or too low. There's always an opinion on a price. But I just think back to that one person we had that was dedicated to this. And there was a lot more than $30 going into that position to update that client every week. So again, just a huge time savings, even though, and a huge dollar savings too overall.
Yeah, and it's not just even about the time that you might think, okay, like, how much time is my project manager or project coordinator spending to actually do that communication? Like, that's one part of it, but it's not the only thing. It's also about, well, what's the benefit to your customers, like your client's experience, right? I mean, and I think you, of all people, can speak to that very well. I mean, your whole product is built on, hey, let's give MSPs a way to have a really tremendous client experience by letting them get all this self-serve information. It's always up to date. They can look at it when they want. And now that's come to projects too. So it's like, by no means is it just like, how much time is your project person saving to send this out? No, it's about, like, how do we differentiate ourselves from the MSP across town by giving them this sort of service?
Well, one of the things that we're seeing too, and again, we've had the blessing of working with a lot of MSPs over the last 4 5 years now, actually. And one of the things that's really clear is that the more information, the more transparency you provide to your clients, and the more trust that you build with them as well, right? When you're not scared of showing them constantly what's going on with their projects, with their tickets, with their assets, everything that CloudRadial is bringing together, that transparency really brings trust. And that trust, as we found, starts opening up other buckets of budget within the clients, right? I mean, there's only so much money that clients have to manage their technology. And, oftentimes they view that as a cost, right? They view that like insurance. They view that as a necessity, but not something they started their business for. When you start dialing in the trust and you start moving into managing their people and basically making sure their people are informed and engaged and a part of it, you start getting into what we call the value budget, which is, or an ROI budget, where all of a sudden I can see what I'm spending with my MSP is starting to pay back because my people are more productive, more engaged, more informed. And projects are a big part of that, right? Again, when is this new project going to be available? Helping a business manage their people and get their work done has ROI for a business. And again, all these types of things open up that ROI budget. And if you do those two things well, you start opening up the VCIO budget, right? Where you're really starting to work strategically with the client, because now this trust is not an issue, transparency is not an issue, and they've gotten so used to working with you collaboratively on the daily type things that they just naturally drift into working with you strategically on the long range things. And we've seen this as a huge differentiator between small MSPs and large MSPs is how much of those budget buckets MSPs are able to tap into. So I think the things that are, again, these are all small steps, but you add, project management along with ticketing, along with office, along with assets, along with security, compliance, all these things come together in that single pane of glass for our clients. It's a very powerful way to transform that relationship from, being the guy that fixes things, or, to being the firm that basically helps guide them on how to grow their business. And again, every detail, everything that you can do through automation, through technology, it's just huge. So as we're running out of time, I think we've gotten through most of the questions. Most of the pricing stuff we've dealt with. Again, if you're interested in TopLeft, go to the TopLeft.team website, right?
That's right.
And be sure and get a demo. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a demo. If you're interested in CloudRadial, be sure and go to the CloudRadial.com website and sign up for a demo there. Again, nothing wrong with the demo. I used to resist doing demos personally for anything I signed up for, and I realized I've just wasted so much time because so many things I'm searching for on the web, I could just ask, right? And so, if you have interest in CloudRadial or TopLeft, just waste our time and ask for a demo, even if you have no interest in buying, right? So, because again, those conversations help us understand better about where to take the product. And I think you'll find at the end of the day that it's just a great time savings for you to get into the product and figure out if there's a fit or not. And let's see, is there one last question? Because now that you've talked about it now, so what's the ETA for a client being able to update a ticket from within CloudRadial?
Yeah, that's a good question. Unfortunately, I don't think that I can safely give a good date for that, but
I mean, I think they'll be happy with next Wednesday. I mean, you don't have to give like a specific date. A day of the week is good, like next Wednesday, next Friday. But yeah, I mean, but it's on your roadmap, correct?
For sure it is. Yeah, we understand that's a valuable part. I mean, we do not we understand. It's part of the value of client CloudRadial is so you don't have to go and explain a new portal to your clients. We don't want you to have to do that unless you really want to. So we totally get the value that there is in, hey, customers already in client portal in CloudRadial, and definitely value and be able to update that sort of thing. So let's make it available there.
Okay, well, I really appreciate joining us today, Matt. I appreciate everybody sticking in here today to listen to this. The recording will be made available, so we'll certainly be able to show everybody. If you want to watch it later, you're certainly be able to do or share with others. You'll be able to do that. Again, appreciate your attendance today. Wish you all the best, and may we still have a nice, mild, pleasant winter. Cheers to all, and we'll be talking soon, I'm sure. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.